You can't tiptoe into this thing, right? Mm-hmm. There's people in this business that have come out of the gate and have written $100,000 in their first 30 days and have never done this before. How is that possible? How is it possible? And when some of us, people get into business, they think if they go out and have a $15,000 a month that they're just killing it.
Yeah.
And other people have gone and done $100,000 in a month. What's the difference?
Welcome back to another Life Insurance Academy podcast. Today we got a doozy for you. This is a topic that I spend a lot of time talking to agents and managers and uplines in the field about. I'm passionate about it because it has a coaching element to this. And this also has a huge impact on you guys listening, because in this topic we're going to reveal today and talk about, it's going to show you how you can, if you're a manager, an upline, or you have people below you, or you desire to have people below you, it's going to help you to help more of them get started successfully and them make more money and be able to sustain. Because in this industry, moving into life insurance, a lot of people come in, and what I have found through my experience, my personal experience, y'all's may be a little bit different, but a lot of people, you can tell if they're going to make it or not within the first 2 weeks.
Within the first 5 minutes.
Correct. I don't know about that. But this also is very relevant to
sometimes
for
you can.
Some of you listeners out there who are thinking about moving into the life insurance industry, or maybe you're just starting and just so happens this is the first podcast you listen to. This is going to be very timely for you, because these are things and tips and techniques that you're going to be able to do in your first few weeks, your first few months, in order to be successful and sustain it and continue to be successful. So the topic is, guys, why new agents fail, and how can managers, or if you want to call them uplines, or recruiters, or friends, can help prevent this from happening. Because we all know how exciting and how energized we are about this industry and the opportunity and the possibilities. I mean, we talk about it almost every single podcast, but yet there's still a large number of people that don't make it.
Yeah.
Right. So I guess I'll ask you guys, why does this topic matter?
Well, 92% of people fail. That's why it matters, and I think if I were new, I would be pulling over and taking notes and listening to this, because I'd want to know the steps to be successful for sure.
Someone walking down their hall, pulling over, taking notes.
Yeah, pull over when you're walking down the hallway.
Or driving down the road in your car. Yes. I mean, when nobody gets started into something with the intention of failing, I don't think anybody does.
No.
Right?
Yeah.
You don't ever start something was like, I'm going to fail out, so, but I'm going to start anyway.
But is it true that you would start something without fully being committed?
I think people start sometimes like half in because they don't want to fully commit, and they're trying to see if they'll get a result out of it without actually over investing or without taking their foot off first, trying to get to second, that sort of thing. Trying to figure out, I wonder if this will work. If I just do it, just dabble in it, can I see if I can have some success? So there's that. And I would think there's a lot of people that do that and never launch. Yeah. And we've had people work with us that they can't even get through pre-licensing. Some of them get their pre-licensing done and then they can't get through contracting then. Some of them get through contracting and then they don't want to buy leads, and they don't want to invest, or they buy leads and then they don't want to call them because they're afraid they're going to burn them because they're nervous. So they don't call them. I mean, we've had people respond on our YouTube channel, I've got leads, and not because I bought old leads, but because I bought them new and I was too nervous to call them all. I'm afraid they were going to say no, but now they're old. I'm like, my comment back was, you got the same result.
Regardless.
It's still a no,
Yes.
And so I think people do try to dabble, and as a result of that, there's a high failure rate, but I don't think it's necessary in a lot of cases. And today we're going to talk about some things that you can do to prevent that.
Absolutely. And you said something very important there. You said, is somebody moving into life insurance, and it could be it's probably every industry, anything you ever try that you've never done before. I don't know if I can do this.
Yeah.
It's that question there. And that question relates to one of the main things that our number one topic, I guess, part of this is going to be the belief that you can do it. And it's impossible. I get it. It's impossible to have the belief if you've never actually done it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in my opinion, and this isn't backed by, years of stats or accountants, but agents mentally give themselves in insurance, it feels like 2 weeks to really decide if that belief is going to be there or it's not going to be there.
Right.
I think mentally they probably give themselves like a month or two.
But
then after 2 weeks and they're not having success, they're already out.
Right. I think that's right.
They're telling themselves
a month.
They're telling themselves one thing, but if they don't have success that first week, they're shook.
Especially if they're in a program where they're buying leads or spending any type of lead investment up front.
Oh yeah.
That time and that pressure is squeezing them very hard.
Tick, 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 tick.
And
tick,
the more
boom.
pressure you have in that, the less likely they are to train or to learn the skill. It becomes more financial pressure and they become more desperate and have commission breath, and that affects everything. But in this first 1 to 2 weeks, realistically, agents will give themselves a month, they will give themselves 6 months. Heck, when I started, I gave myself a year, but obviously if I didn't make no money, it wasn't going to last a year, right? So the realistically
so you didn't really give yourself a year.
Well, yeah, I did. I did.
What you told yourself.
It happened. So it did. But yes, you learn a lot in those first couple weeks. And this whole podcast is targeted on what, if you're a new agent, what can you expect or what do you need to do to get this belief in your first 2 weeks? And then also if you're a manager, upline, friend, support system, whoever, what you can be looking for, because you are absolutely crucial to this agent's success. And in this industry, if you're building an agency going into it, you spend a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of marketing efforts trying to build your team and go through that. And that can be difficult sometimes. You don't want to get them in the system, get them contracted, get them licensed, and then all of a sudden they're completely on their own. And then your return on investment is not good.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Chris, can you talk about the impact of, maybe not following some of these steps we're going to talk about on the manager and how that can maybe negatively impact them?
Oh yeah. You start to believe, I think it's easier for a manager who's having repeated failures to launch. I think you may have even experienced this if this has happened to you, just to question the opportunity where you're saying, man, maybe I'm special. Maybe I'm just lucky. Then you start thinking that, then it affects your production because of your own belief. So really this lack of belief is such a cornerstone piece of this conversation, I've talked about this last week, Roger, for the all agents that we just had for our agents, belief is here, like it's here, it moves to your head, start doing the activity, but you have to do the work. If I gave you 3 baseballs and you were not allowed to watch a video on how to juggle, but I told you, Roger, in 2 weeks, I'm going to give you a check for $10,000 if you can juggle these baseballs for 3 minutes. Would you be able to do it?
I'm going to ask you what juggling means.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
If I'm not allowed to watch a video,
I'll give you the definition
to learn.
I'll give you the definition.
Do I get to see someone juggle?
I'll give you a 10-minute demonstration.
Oh, 10 minutes? That's a lot more than I thought I was going to get.
Okay. That's it.
Yes, I can figure that out.
You could figure it out.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you must be lucky, Roger, because on a couple podcasts ago, he did the same example for Aaron Hicks, except it was 10 baseballs and $100,000. Right. And I'm over listening thinking, how's anybody for any amount of money going to juggle 10
baseballs? 10?
Like he did it easy. He did 3 and 10 grand for you, so you're good shape.
We knocked the price
we
down,
can have
too.
that done by noon.
Oh man!
But it's this ability, believing in your ability to figure something out.
10? I'd be working pretty hard for 100 grand to figure out 10.
You would work very hard.
Yeah, 10's a lot.
Yeah,
that's
so
right.
when we're looking at insurance and we're looking at this beginning stage and this agent that doesn't have belief, but what do they need to do to help belief? As an agent, the biggest advice we can give you is to really start preparing for your week. Mentally preparing for it, physically preparing for it, getting everything ready, set expectations of what your work schedule is going to be. You have all the applications, you have everything you're going to need in the field. You have your support system ready to go. So you're prepared for if it's a good week, a bad week. If you're sitting with a lot of people, you can't get in front of anybody. You just need to be prepared for everything, all types of weather, and be ready to go. That's going to help you get in that mind stage. And as a manager or as an upline, looking at this first part of belief here, one things that you can do to really help is going to be help your agent realize that this first two-week period for their belief, they're going to need to experience wins. They're going to need to experience some sort of win. And you can't say that a win is only, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 a week or above. A win has to be anything and everything that is positive for a brand new agent. So it could be an agent organizing their leads or routing their leads a proper way. Celebrate that as a win for them.
Their first appointment they set.
The first appointment they set is a win.
Their first presentation they make.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Organizing their desk and getting their phone and having their underwriting guides ready to go in their headset and they're scheduled out blocks.
You can only
so
celebrate that as a win once, though.
Yes. But,
not every Monday for 3 hours.
But you as the manager, you have to understand this is going to be so emotionally up and down for them. Mm-hmm. You need to be able to celebrate wins for them at any type of level.
Yes.
I would say one of the big things for me in this idea of belief as a manager, if you're bringing somebody into the business, if you've had any level of success in this industry, you at some point have put in consistent high activity.
Yes.
Another phrase I would like to use is you've applied some massive action over a short period of time. And that massive action or that high level of consistent activity is what launched you to have success. Because with repetition, getting your reps in, shoot, eventually you get into a rhythm. You figure out how not to shoot, right? You figure out what not to do. If you make enough bad phone calls, you eventually start making good phone calls. If you do enough bad presentations, you learn what not to say because that didn't work. I got egg on my face when I did that. I wasn't ready for this objection. It puts you in a place where you can actually learn some things. And if you don't have massive action going into your first 2 weeks, you're already set up for failure. You can't tiptoe into this thing, right? Mm-hmm. There's people in this business that have come out of the gate and written $100,000 in their first 30 days and have never done this before. How is that possible? How is it possible? And when some of us, people get in the business and they think if they go out and have a $15,000 a month that they're just killing it.
Yeah.
And other people have gone and done $100,000 in a month. What's the difference? Is it skill?
No, it's the amount of people.
Is it how organized their desk was? Is it all it was a belief that was instilled in them that they needed to take massive action. I need to have high activity and I need to get after it and I need to stay after it and I need to make a lot of mistakes and keep coming back and checking in. So as a manager, encourage your people to get high activity. Hold them accountable to that, but then have them come back to you for accountability, for feedback, for coaching. Right? A pitching coach or a batting coach, they can't give feedback if you're not swinging the bat.
Right.
Tiger Woods has a golf coach. He's one of the best golfers on the planet, but he hires someone else to tell him what he's doing well. Think about that. How you think, well, why does he need a coach? Because he can't see the things that he's doing that are maybe moving the ball a little bit to the right where it doesn't need to go, or he's hooking it left, or he's hooding the club and he's not getting the distance out of it, whatever it is. And a coach can tell him when he's in that groove. Well, you need a coach. And so as a coach, high activity, make a lot of mistakes, and come back to us for feedback. Come back to me for feedback, and you can guide a moving ship. If that boat's moving, now we have some things to monitor, some feedback that I can give you. So I think that's one of the things where you can give them a win. So just say, hey, listen, go dial 200 dials. That's a win. Let's celebrate that as a win.
Yes.
Also, let's celebrate your first, not just your first sit, but let's celebrate your first week when you actually do 20 presentations. I don't care if you sell any, but man, we're going to celebrate your 20 presentations. You'll be hard pressed to do 20 presentations and not write 5 or 6 apps.
Yes. Believe it or not, I remember a time back when we were in the field a lot, Chris, and Chris would literally pay $10 for every filled out papered application.
Yes.
That an agent did, even if they didn't sell it. It was the whole idea of continuing to move and getting to that point, which is celebrating a win, right?
Yes.
It's pretty cool. But the second one I want to bring up here of why agents fail, and it's kind of funny, but it's celebrating temporary or false success.
Would you say celebrating, or is it over celebrating?
Both, right?
Like, we won the championship, and it's the first game of the season.
Yes, and what that is, and sometimes that's a killer, because when somebody's success, or I call it false success, they sold a lot of business, they had a successful week, but when they do it in a way that's creating bad habits, that's where I'm coming with false success. So if it's an agent that is brand new and shouldn't have the luxury of being lazy, but all of a sudden they don't work Monday for one reason. This is like their first or second weekend, and then they go out on Tuesday and at 2:00 in the afternoon they get one app for like 3,500 AP, right? And they're like, oh great, I'm going home early. Like,
yes.
And they feel like, oh, this is easy, I'm successful. Look how much I wrote in my first week. But they're setting themselves up for failure. That's why it's called false success. But it's really the agent's activity is based upon their emotions instead of a structured schedule that's going to promote sustained success. Meaning, if an agent's having a really good week, production-wise, they're going to quit and go home early. They'll cash in their chips, and they're going to celebrate their week or be lazy because I've hit good numbers. I've earned this, right? Mm-hmm. And it also goes on the other side. If an agent's having a bad week, or it's raining, or they're not feeling it, or it's just they're struggling, well, I'm going to quit and I'm going to go home early and just start again next week. So either way, they're based upon their emotions of how they feel is how much they're going to work or not work. And there is a time when your skill level gets to a point and your experience gets to a point where you're able to make a very comfortable amount of money in less time in this industry. And the first year is not that time. I promise you that.
Especially the first 2 weeks.
Yes.
So as an agent, it's going to be very important that your activity is based upon a structured schedule.
Oh yeah.
So if you're supposed to work Monday to Thursday or Monday to Saturday, and it starts at this time and ends at that time, stick to the schedule regardless of the results. So you take that good week and make it a great week. You take that terrible bad week and turn it into a good week, because you have the same amount of time that you're putting in, that it's not based upon your emotions of good or bad. Now, how you can help as a manager and upline in this situation is to set the expectations early on. Right. Mm-hmm. And you set them by letting them know, crafting a plan and a schedule for them based upon what they want to accomplish in their life, what goals they have set, and based upon your experience, this is the schedule that would fit best for that or work for that. But the other part of this is you as that manager upline, you have to demonstrate that same schedule yourself, because they can't say, oh yeah, you're new, you have to work, this many days at this many hours because this is the goal that you told me you want to achieve, but yet I'm not doing any of that. Like that's not necessarily going to go over too well. And then, so with that, and helping your agent control the emotions of getting too high and getting too low, celebrating that big app that they got, the reality is,
tell them not to spend the money.
Don't spend the money. You can get a charge back. Like, make sure you tied it down. You're walking them through that. But also on them bad days is, talking them off the cliff.
Yes.
And letting them know we're just getting back and just seeing the people one at a time and keep going. So that's really going to help
off the cliff.
prevent an agent from, what I'm talking about if you're an upline. To prevent an agent from failing out of the business based upon false success.
The worst thing is not when you're trying to talk them off the cliff. The worst thing is when they jump off the cliff. The rope's around their neck, and then they throw you the other end saying, catch me.
Yes.
I lose either way.
There's no winning.
There's no winning in there, right? They get the noose around their neck.
Graphic.
They throw you the rope. Save me. I don't think I'm going to get involved here.
That is the difficult part in this, when you have, this goes back to that expectation conversation. Mm-hmm. They have big dreams, big goals, but they're willing to put in part-time effort, and they can't figure out why it's not working at all. So those conversations, man, are
absolutely
so important.
Absolutely. And so the third thing of reason why agents fail, which Roger alluded to it a little bit, was being uncoachable. Being uncoachable. And this is absolutely crucial, because when you have some false success or you have prior experience in a different industry, sometimes you tend to know all the answers. Or know what's wrong with your swing. Just like Roger said, Tiger Woods, obviously he's probably one of the best ever to swing a club, but yet he has a coach and he has changed his swing multiple times. But being able to make the necessary adjustments as needed, and the best example I can give for this is again, I go back to basketball. So think of, your favorite basketball coach and talk about what there is. Can they play as good as the actual player? Probably not. No. Maybe, depending on some of the coaches nowadays, but back in their prime. But they have pregame speeches. They go through an entire game plan, a scouting report for success. The next thing they do, if they see in how the game's going or how the week's going for the agent, we can relate this directly to that. You can call timeouts. You can make little in-game adjustments throughout the week. You have a halftime, which could be a midweek check-in or some type of midweek training that you guys do to make any adjustments to finish the week strong. And then there's a post-game seeing, okay, what happened at the end of the week? This is what we did well. This is what we didn't do well. This is the adjustments that we need to make moving forward for our next game, hence, or the next week of work. But what's more important of any of that is learning from the mistakes, learning from the game you played or the week you had, making those adjustments and practicing on those. Because all the teams, the next day, they have practice and walkthroughs, and they go through the mistakes they made to better themselves, so then they become better the following week. Agents have to be coachable. You have to look at those adjustments. For an agent, you have to be able to be vulnerable. You have to be able to communicate with your manager at upline and be honest and detailed. And that may sound crazy, Chris, to say to be honest and detailed, but I can't tell you how many agents I've spoke to that said, "Oh, I do it exactly like you. Everything was perfect. I said the right things. I not even you or anybody could have sold these clients."
Yeah.
How many times have you heard that?
Oh, I've heard that. Yeah.
Right. So being able to be honest and vulnerable and detailed, so your experienced manager upline can be able to make the adjustments, is crucial for being coachable. Now, from the manager perspective or the upline perspective, you need to make your time available to have maybe scheduled times like before the week starts. I know one thing that's important to us here, we have a Monday morning lunch call, which is kind of like our pregame speech, right? We go through, we celebrate agents, which gives them that win, right? We talk about upcoming announcements. We go through, and we also have a full mindset check, that's pregame speech to get everybody rallied and ready to go for the week. And we have managers in the field. We're always available for little checks or little tweaks from a bad door knock or a bad phone call, anything like that. We're available for that for agents. We do midweek podcasts. Obviously we do that for everybody.
Yeah.
So we're your halftime speech right here, to get you guys rolling and ready to go. And there's always Zoom calls, trainings, coaching sessions. Life Insurance Academy is filled with every aspect of that to make adjustments and be coachable for you guys to sustain the success and to be able to be ready. So as a manager, make time, schedule time to debrief, find out what's going on. This is absolutely crucial in this first 2-week time period to figure out what's going on so you make the adjustments. If you don't, you risk the agent developing bad habits or them feeling like they're doing everything exactly right and nothing's being corrected, and you're expecting a different result for next week, which is absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
Because it's probably not going to happen that way. And the fourth reason why agents fail, which is probably the funniest one to me, is agents stop training / stop learning, I guess, whatever you want to say. They stop investing in their skill set. We know moving into this life insurance industry, there's a huge learning curve. You learn a lot about the products, about the processes, about every aspect of this business. And for some reason, a lot of agents feel that once they get involved and I want to say graduate, they feel that it's a graduation to actually running leads, getting through training, and going out there and working. Now it's just seeing families and going home. Now it's just investing in, their, their leads, buying their leads, running their leads, and that's it. They're not doing anything more. They're not learning their skill. They're not learning their process. They're not learning from their experience or their sits, and they kind of leveled out. What should an agent do in that situation?
I think obviously is continue to be a learner.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be a learner, and I think you said it in the last in section 3 that if you are saying that person could never be sold, then your mind becomes closed and you can't think of options to be able to get better. So yeah, you have to be in continual learning mode. That means reaching out to people who are having success, having conversations, that association piece, and asking for things that will help you level up.
Yeah. And I know being in the field, this happened to me a lot. I know it happened to you, Roger, and probably Chris quite a bit as well, where agents at this point or at this stage, when you feel that they toss that rope over, tied to their neck, right, saying grab a hold of it, what that actually sounds like in the insurance world is, Roger, I'm doing everything right. I don't know what's going on. Will you ride with me, or will you help me get a couple sales because I need money?
And I don't even know if it's that at that point, at the point where they're tossing you the rope, they pretty much already checked out. They're not even engaged in trying to win anymore. If you can catch them before that, and they're still open to training, I'm just going to go back to activity again.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be like, you want to have success on minimal activity.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't work. You're trying to get a plane off the ground, and you're getting in and out of the cockpit and going back to the bathroom and getting on your phone and watching Facebook videos halfway down the runway.
Oh, geez, you would not get on that plane.
Come on, dude. Like, you can't get this thing off the ground.
Yeah.
And then halfway down, you're worried about your cash flow, so you let back on the gas. The end of the runway's coming. Mm-hmm. It's called the cliff. It's called your quit date. And you got to get the activity in. Put the freaking throttles down and get the plane off the ground. I can't coach you unless you're going to go and do some work and make some mistakes. I don't care how you feel. Your feelings are not going to pay your bills. Just go and see the people. Mm-hmm. If that one says no, go to the next one. Go to the next one. Go to the next. Now, if you can get someone who's willing to listen to you, that can trust you with that piece of the process, and you can get them through that hump. I guarantee you, if you just lay it on that one principle of high activity will yield results, because you'll make enough mistakes, you'll figure enough stuff out that when we coach and when we debrief, you go do two sits and we'll have another conversation.
Right.
Don't come back and talk to me again tomorrow before you've made another call, and because you want to think about it again. And is this process right? Just pick up the phone and dial. Go knock. Do 2 sits. Once you get 2 sits in, come back and talk to me, and we'll debrief them. Then we're going to go do 3 more. And then we'll debrief again. We'll touch base, but it's not going to be long.
Some of these conversations are really short.
Some of them are really short.
I haven't seen anybody all day. Okay, well, find somebody to talk to.
Bye. yeah. Until you find somebody to talk to, I'm not that person.
Yeah. I actually had a phone call this week from a very successful manager who has onboarded many agents, and the phone call was for some advice for a new agent who's in their second week, believe it or not. And he was saying that, she's doing everything right. Everything's, doing every the way she should. There's for some reason, there seems to be an issue for closing this week. And I was like, okay. So, and he's like, well, so I know this is what we traditionally do. So this is how I normally help. Is there any advice, or what would you recommend on helping this agent become successful? And that's always the heartbeat of what we do anyways, is what can we do to help an agent become successful? And the first thing I said was, well, it's Tuesday. So let's, we need to see data.
Tuesday of week 2.
we need to see results. We need to see a large number of sits. We need to, or presentations given to clients, because that's going to tell the story. The activity and the numbers from the activity will tell a story. For me as a manager, or being in the field, I know exactly what this number of door knocks or this phone number phone calls, I know what the issue is. If there's this many presentations and only sold this many apps, I know exactly what the issue is. So it can allow me to pinpoint these adjustments, but everybody learns in different ways. And it's a lot easier for people to see something be done, especially from an experienced manager, and say, oh, this is easy. I can do that too. I'm ready to go on my own. And then when they're doing it, they feel as if they're doing the same thing. So the natural response is to blame the leads or the area or the territory, whatever it is. It's not me, right?
Surely it's not me.
Surely.
Exactly. So one thing that I always recommend, and it's kind of my style of getting somebody back on track in this short window of time, is and I say do a 6 presentation process or a 3, whatever you're able to do. But the first couple, you observe completely. You're a fly in the wall. If it makes that agent feel better, then that agent can let the client know that they're training you, that you're their manager. If it gives them a little confidence or a little boost, that's completely fine. You're not saying a word the whole time, because you have to see the transitions. You need to see the connection. You need to see if there's losing control at what stage. You need to see how the closing is getting there. Is there opening questions? Is there using tie downs? There's so much that you can learn from what they're doing that they're not even aware of. So you do that for a couple sits to kind of gather your data and see what the trends are. The next couple I would recommend, so the next 2 sits, is you kind of do them together. You kind of bounce back and forth. And you go through the process. You should be able to close the deals if you're experienced and you're seeing what they're going through. And then the final 2 or the next 2 of the 6, I want you as the upline manager to do 100% of it. 100% of it. And what this does for me is it allows you as the upline or the manager to see, okay, what are they doing? And this is what they feel is correct. Then you're doing it together. Okay, that feels a little different. We had some success. And now they're observing you completely. And now you're doing it and having success. So in this span of this 6 presentations or 6 sits, they're able to be completely alone together and then watch you do it. And those 3 different stages of learning should be able to correct or naturally correct any adjustments along with any coaching or things that you observed to get them back on track and being successful literally the next day, which has been a huge help. So that's one thing that I would recommend.
That's a handy little tidbit there.
It is. And if you guys, need any help or need any advice, we're always here available for you guys. We release a podcast every single week. We appreciate you guys listening. We started doing a lot more YouTube videos. I want you guys to go check those out. A lot of these tidbits that we're releasing are also in there. All 3 of us are releasing videos and content. So go subscribe and share those. It really helps us out to be able to provide more content and make a real difference out there. And then if there's any other new topics that you guys want to hear or discuss, or just come hang out with us, or, get on a podcast yourself.
Come hang out.
Man, just reach out to us. We'd love to share. And the biggest thing is, man, we don't hide any secret sauce. So hopefully you guys know that. Hopefully that's why you're a longtime listener. But if you feel like you got a little sauce that's better than everybody else's, or something that's been working for you and you would love to share, reach out to us as well, because we would love to help you with that platform to be able to share and make a difference in the industry.
And we'll see you on the next episode of the Life Insurance Academy podcast.
There you go.